The World Bank and the IMF lend money to developing nations of the world, often with devastating consequences. Their policies force a lowering of environmental standards, cause destruction, pollution, and enforce resettlement. In September 2000, the World Bank and International Monetary Fund met for the 55th time. With the world's media in town, campaigners made their message clear.
This is our friends. First, this guy in yellow jacket is from Poland, and he's anarchist, like us. This guy in the middle is from USA, and he's from Impact. And this guy by the right, he's from Poland also, but he's from the ecological organization like First Earth, something like that. It's really big banner because it's 12 meters by 6.
Do you know how long they are planning to stay there?
First they want to stay a couple days by
Really?
the hammock.
Really?
Yes, but now the police, they talk with police, and the police give them the permission to take this banner, but they must go out.
This is the way the Czech police treat peaceful demonstrators.
You got anything to say, man? Are you okay? Are you all right?
Not really.
But your action tomorrow will go as planned. You still plan to?
Yeah, I mean, this is why we're doing what we're doing tomorrow, because of treatment like this, because we're not allowed to speak our minds around the world, because people around the world are denied democracy, denied freedom, are in poverty, are healthcare. They have no health care. That's why we're speaking here. So of course we'll continue. Nothing will stop us.
We will shut them down.
The 20,000 who travelled from all over the world had one aim: to bring the meeting to a halt.
And if they can't divide us, then they'll send in the tanks. But we will stand together, pacifists and zapatistas, workers, farmers, the indigenous, tree huggers and baristas. We'll shut them down. We'll shut them down. We will shut them down. And we will build a new world without the corporate elite, and we will...
In a disused warehouse, artists spent days preparing for the demonstration.
This is what we call the art space, right? And it's a kind of workshop we're organizing just to prepare materials and devices to somehow go with our protest, right? The protest we are preparing against the IMF and the World Bank.
This is going to be a bug from Czech folklore, like a bug that always knows best and knows everything. Can now be a giant fat cat, World Bank, IMF bug instead.
The idea is to make it a visual. There's so many languages, right? It's got to be visual, it's got to be sound, it's got to be, power and numbers, just come at it from every angle. But it's also how I work individually on my own anyways, in my own hometown. I paint banners and comic-style posters, and I put them up in the city. It's my own individual activism, I guess.
What we're going to do is try to march down to the conference centre and blockade and try and stop them from leaving. And we want to do this non-violently for many reasons. A, because if we were violent against the Czech police, they could be very, very, very violent back to us. But B, I don't think it's necessary or it's particularly helpful to use violence in this situation. And we get our point across much better if we show that our strength comes from the strength of numbers and the strength of people's feeling and the unity of our feeling against this. And we don't actually have to use violence.
I think you have got great idea to use pink color for this demonstration because it's very peaceful, you know, very nice and peaceful. And living live music is also very very good idea.
I want to look a bit funny so police wouldn't come and kick me off.
As if you could trust that.
You think it will work? I don't know. But I hope so, and I want to make people laugh when they see me.
While the protesters were pretty in pink, the 11,000 officers drafted into Prague looked menacing in black.
I'd like to say to the IMF leaders, look out the window, take a chance to look out and notice there's loads and loads of people in the world who aren't just you and who have a lot to say about the decisions that you're making, and have a listen for once to what we're saying.
My message today is cancer the dead.
That's one of his messages today.
I want the World Bank, IMF, just to abolish all the investment in the projects that harm poor people, that harm the world, that damage and the environment.
I also find it very inspiring how people have come from all over the world. We've got groups from all over Europe, but also America and South America, which shows that this is an international problem. It isn't limited to one country or to one group of people within a country.
The IMF has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! The IMF has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho!
The IMF has got to go!
And it's a song we sing in England, and it's for you too. And it goes like this. No one's slave, I am no one's master. No one's slave, I am no one's master. On my grave, they will write this after I am gone. I will be gone, and then my flesh will go to the earth it lived on. Breath will go to the air it lived from. I am through with the shame of my life. I've had my fill of the cruelty and pride. Earned my keep in the land where the dying desert grows. And now I know.
One of the first things that I saw on the TV, which made me get involved in this kind of campaigning, was a group of young women looking a bit like we are today, chained to a digger, singing songs. And I thought that stops the action, it's very powerful, and no one is intimidating anyone else. And I want to be part of that, because that empowers me, as well as making a change in my life and making a change in the world that we live in.
The only way you know you are right is when you are happy. It's the only thing that is sure. When you are happy, you know that what you're doing is right.
While the happiness fairies brought joy to all, those not smiling were chased away.
So how have you been at the conference? What's the atmosphere inside the conference like? What do you think of the protests? Right. Do you have any comment on what's happening?
Please.
Don't be such bastards.
Think. You can go in here, Planet.
Discovering a weak point, activists attempted to reach the conference centre. Police responded with stun grenades, tear gas and water cannons.
Play by ear.
With security crumbling, reinforcements were drafted in.
Again, get immediately to the hotel. It will not be safe for you. Please. Hey! Could you leave the places and get into the hotel or the PCC?
I know that there are three groups of the demonstrants. The blue one, the yellow one and the red one. The yellow and the red one is there on the bridge, and the blue ones are here in the Lumirova Street, which is down here under the PCC, and they are fighting with the cops.
Heavily armed riot police in armoured vehicles blocked the main entrance.
You don't need to hate me, you can only love me. I'm doing it for you, you know? I don't want you...
These Italian activists were the first to model a new range of suits designed to counteract police attacks.
We know that the police will try to stop us. That's why we are protected with our body with this protection, but we don't have stones, we don't have sticks, we don't have bottles, and we don't want any offensive act against the police that is not altogether decided. We ask all the people that want to act differently to move back from this part of the march. The city is big and there is place for enough, for everyone.
We are inviting you all to be witnesses and to show to all the world what means the IMF and the World Bank. Tanks, police, weapons, and injustice. And to show to all the world that it's possible to rebel ourselves, everybody, to this policy in the world.
Can everybody move this way? Thank you. Well, independent media needs to be here, mainly because mainstream media ignores most of what direct action is.
Well, I think the protesters are in a difficult position in one sense, which is that if you want to get your message across into the mainstream printed press, it's probably not going to get in unless there's some sort of friction, some sort of flashpoint, because that's what news is about. You know?
The media constantly concentrate on sensationalists burning or any fights with police, which are a very small part of any sort of protest. So we're here to give an alternative side to the story.
Using the internet, media activists broadcast news of the events which the mainstream chose to ignore.
So we're giving reports from the street, we're giving reports from the conferences, counter-conferences and summits that were held around Prague in the last few days.
Outside, independent journalists were being harassed by police.
We arrived at the Independent Media Centre on Monday to find police checking passports.
You must have a reason. You cannot just stop someone.
From our understanding, it was illegal under Czech law for them just to randomly stop people and ask to see their passports. They had to have a reason.
Okay, let's do the passport.
You have a reason? Why are you asking me for my passport? Why are you asking me? What is the reason? What is the justification?
And it got to the stage where we thought it was probably a good idea to hand over our passports, even though we considered we were in the right.
You can see it. Why do you want to hold it? You can see it. See, it's me. Hello.
As was the case on many other occasions, what our rights were on paper was a completely different story to what was happening on the street.
With the risk of protesters breaching the last line of defence, police responded with force.
The police are just pushing everyone down the hill with the water cannons. This is the blue march. There's another set of people sat down. The red march is holding on the bridge. Basically, tear gas, bangers, water cannons. I think the bad move was throwing the stones, but that's just my opinion.